Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Summer presentation of the Mars TV Dota 2 League Changsha Major South American Qualifier. Here we have the lower bracket round 2, this final match of the GSL Group B to determine who is going to be that second seed and who's going to be third going out of this group. Midas Club versus Gorillaz-Pride. Now, Midas Club were able to take out Stars and then get knocked down by SG yesterday. Gorillaz, on the other hand, got knocked down by SG and then were able to take out Stars in a bit of a reverse. So Stars are going to be the bottom seed at this point in time. Now Gorillaz and Midas, the two teams that have both beaten Stars and lost to SG in a pretty disgraceful fashion. No, it was, they were interesting games, but it was definitely a strong 2-0 from SG. So now these two have to kind of fight for that second bill. And we'll have to see who's got what it takes here. Gorillaz, the team from Peru, Midas Club from Brazil. And showcasing already some interesting selections here. Sand King and Ancient Apparition. Moose drafting for himself the first pick, Sand King. That's my kind of guy. Love that kind of like, selfish. Oh, I could burrow strike the world with this hero kind of mentality. But yeah, Rubik and Death Prophet are going to be the answer, and I think those are really strong picks. Rubik, obviously, really strong against Sand King, just being able to get some really good spell steals out and resist a lot of the incoming magic damage. And Death Prophet, just innately very powerful this patch, very strong in the pushing metagame, and able to do pretty well in the laning phase. So, high expectations here for Midas Club as they get some good counter picks coming through. Ancient Apparition is an interesting hero and an interesting option because, like, obviously, there's a lot of self-healing coming in from Death Prophet, from her Spirit Siphon, or perhaps the end of her Exorcism. Maybe Octarine Core down the line. There's a lot of heals coming. And just reducing their overall HP with the Shadow Threshold is a really big deal. But you got to land the Ice Blast first, and I think that's the key thing, is just making sure that he has the right distance for the fight, make sure that you have the right setup with, like, Burrow Strike, or maybe some other disables to make sure that you get that out. We have seen, I think, some Faces Void coupled up with the AA Sand King recently, and I think that's a really good option for the second phase. Hasn't been banned out just yet. Gyrocopter was a little bit of a higher priority here to take out. So they take out Gyrocopter, they take out Underlord for phase 2. Midas Club might have to be facing down that Faceless Void. In the meantime, Clockwork was actually banned out here. Interesting hero to take off the board. Might indicate they want a Shadow Fiend to match up against the Death Prophet, but otherwise I'm not too sure. I do also want to note that yesterday we got to see Murdoch play solo mid Gyrocopter both games that they played against Stars, and that was the first pick, if I recall correctly, in both games. So the fact that they not only did not first pick Gyrocopter, but now second phase ban Gyrocopter makes things pretty interesting in my perspective. They are shifting things up, they are switching gears, and they are going to be going for something that's a little bit more collaborative. Reserve time taken down for this next ban here. What do they want to take off the table? What are they most afraid of? Obviously, offlaner, a support would probably be the best ban, just because you've already got most likely your two supports, Moose playing on the Sand King. Then you get Masoku pick up the Ancient Apparition. So I think supports is definitely the field that you want to narrow the most. And they do end up taking the Tusk out of play. So, well, you do have the option of like a Earth Spirit if you want a roaming 4 hero. The more common one right now being the Tusk. Taking that out is a pretty important. I believe Hiko was playing Tusk yesterday as well. Could be the other Titan though, and fits the bill for what they're looking for. Is some good strong team fight, some good damage enhancement, and yeah, just controlled initiation. So I think this works very well as a 4 position option for Hiko, and it's a good band still, but I think that Midas Club aren't too unhappy with what they end up with in the end. And RZS was playing Rubik both games yesterday as well, so some comfort here in that capacity at the very least. Reserve time, again, is being tapped into for Gorillaz-Pride here, so they're thinking about their next pick, their next response, and they are going to end up going with Bounty Hunter as their selection. So that does change things up a little bit, because we do have to have either a mid-Ancient Apparition or an offlane Sand King. I would say most likely it's going to be Moose on the Bounty Hunter, and then you'll have Sand King being played in the off lane. That just makes the most sense to me. Greedy was playing the off-lane Razor last game, so I think that he can pull an off-lane Sand King off pretty effectively. A hero that just can get very involved. But you are up against a Lifestealer here. Strong against a lot of these magic-based spells with the Rage. So it's going to create a very active laning phase where Rubik, Elder Titan, Lifestealer can definitely create kill opportunities on Sand King, who's just trying to kind of do some gradual lane dominance with the Caustic and with the Bounty Hunter support. Meantime, you're going to be seeing Lina come into the fray. This is a hero we have not seen a lot of. I would love to see some stats on like how infrequently this hero has been picked in most of the recent patches. But she is still a strong hero in her own right. It's just so uncommon to see something like that. I like the fact that you get the AoE stun so that you get more setup for your Ice Blast on top of Ice Vortex, that kind of thing. Like you can Ice Vortex to slow somebody down in range of Burrow Strike, followed up by LSA, followed up by Ice Blast. Guaranteed kill. Some good track gold on the field. But another magic spellcaster that the Lifestealer can kind of ignore. I think that's a pretty big issue if you're on the side of Gorillaz-Pride. You need like a Yule Scepter really early on so that you can, when the Lifestealer goes on you, you just pop that on yourself and you stay alive. I don't know. This is a pretty tricky one. I felt really confident Gorillaz-Pride's first 4 picks in the previous draft. I felt that it was just a really good, easy to execute lineup that kind of had everything they needed to take the early and mid game. Here, there's a lot of question marks. There's like, okay, how do they match up against Lifestealer? Is this Lifestealer going to get the early Radiance and then just go in an Ancient Creep? How do they deal with an Ancient Creep? I mean, that's a very simple question, but like, Fiery Soul stacks are nice to right-click it down, but that's about it. They otherwise have absolutely nothing that deals with an Ancient Creep infested Lifestealer with Radiance. Absolutely nothing. So, a little awkward, I would have to say. I think that Midas Club have a lot going for them if they can get on a good laning phase out. That Faceless Void does come into play. The one that I mentioned, back in phase 2, does end up being the last pick for Gorillaz-Pride. Chronosphere, Ice Blast, a nice little combo. You can even get, once you have the Blink Dagger on Sand King, hit the Epicenter inside the bubble as well, and that could be pretty nice. So I think that, they have the right mentality going into this game. But I feel like there's a lot of things that can go wrong. If they can't get enough kills on the Death Prophet or the Lifestealer early, these heroes generating just a marginal amount of income can get some key items that will allow them to succeed very significantly. Obviously, Radiance Lifestealer does have counter synergies with Elder Titan in the sense that he wakes people up. You'd have to like turn your Radiance off when you see sleep coming, which can be annoying, and you don't see too often. But just overall, just allowing him to be inside the Ancient Creep and continuously putting damage into the enemy, and even that mischance can be very, very effective. So it's going to be Hijack on the offlane Beastmaster, another comfort pick for him. Fuga is going to be taking that safe lane Lifestealer, leaving Murdoch to the mid lane Death Prophet. RZS will be your Rubik, and Hiko is going to be that Elder Titan. Midas Club, in this first game of best of 3, I think I favor them significantly for the draft, but there's still plenty of potential for really strong teamfights coming up from Gorillaz-Pride. If Moose on the Bounty Hunter in the offlane is able to create enough pressure alongside Greedy on the Sand King, they can definitely build up a lot of momentum. You need probably a courier snipe on Murdoch's bottle. That would be really important. And then from there, just trying to get some early kills on the Rubik would be really nice. Winning the Sentry Ward game is a very key aspect of this. So I think there's a lot of potential for the offlane to do well for Gorillaz-Pride, and I think the Chronospheres, if they're on point, can set up a really, really devastating team fight. But in the end, there is a lot to worry about here. And Midas Club, I do favor them at least going into this first game of the best of 3. All right, considering their final picks here, strategy time, making their decisions. They know where they want to go. It's just what they want to buy. Is Sand King going to be able to start with any early movement speed? Bounty Hunter's items are usually pretty interesting too. You want the Orb of Venom, but you also want some Sentry Wards. Maybe the Masoku pulls him a Sentry so that he can consistently make movements against the Death Prophet and against the top lane. Alrighty. And going right into it. Showing off some items. We do have already Null Talisman start on the Death Prophet, no surprise there. Stout Shield start for Hijack, because he's going to be able to fight his way through the top lane pretty well, I think. We We have seen a lot of offlaners taking a solo safe, though, in South America. So, you know, we don't necessarily know that he's going to be up top. If he wants to kind of... He doesn't want to face 1v1 against the Sand King, though, you know? Caustic, even with the boar, like, just going up against Caustic is kind of too much. He does have a lot of base strength, as you can see, just with 2 branches having 700 HP, but it's just not a fun matchup, melee versus melee on the Sand King, when you just can't do enough to push him back. So I do think it is going to be that Beastmaster to the top lane, plenty of regen accounted for that, and then from there, the real question is what Hiko ends up doing on this Elder Titan. I really good at Elder Titan game myself last night, where it's like 4-0 and 2 in like 12 minutes. Just that Echo Stomp can be really strong if you get in the right position. And I think H.R. Person's a hero that you can definitely catch out with that a little bit. Like Ice Vortex obviously is a nice little slow to keep distance, but you have to be so careful how you move. And you know, starting off with the Windlace already gives Hiko the advantage. Nice little long pause. I don't think there was much of a reason. At least, not that I can read. Banero? Banero? No, El Baño is bathroom. But, who knows? Alright. Nice little 2-minute pause at this point, but just waiting for things to get underway. Hope everybody's doing well in the chat today. And we can get underway with game 1. Everybody making their move up top here. No smokes coming out from either side. Just a brute force approach towards this top lane. Murdoch does get a Sentry Ward for himself against this Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter has some Observers and Sentries coming in from Masoku. So, 2 clarities means a lot of active movement for Moose. He's not just going to be kind of waiting, hiding in the trees. He's going to be using the Shadow Walk very liberally, just kind of staying on top of people. Sand King does end up getting himself up both Mango and Stout Shield, so good sustain in the lane, and probably going to get the Quelling Blade first, but just getting a bunch of, like, you know, generally strong items to start off with. One having to time walk away, not a big deal. His mana pool is gonna, you know, be up to snuff for most of the laning stage. You're not really worried about running out of mana when you don't have a mana burn against you. As a Faceless Void, this time walk is very cheap to spam out. That is a taunt that I don't know who's doing it. Who's doing the little sound effects there? Rubik or something? I'm not too sure. Interesting movement to try to get the courier here. Moves. Oh, he's just pulling the wave. Okay, that's interesting. Already Pink's coming out, but there's nothing they can do about it. There's nobody here to respond to this whatsoever. So he's going to be able to double up the Radiant Wave. No problem at all. And that's going to make things a little bit more annoying for Fuga. Bring around the Rosie here. Maybe even, yeah, he'll just bring it over to the next wave that spawns, and then he could just invis or TP out. Maybe go for a Courier Snipe. Speaking of Courier, healing salve. You can go for the healing salve right now. He knows where Bounty Hunter is. Bounty's on the map. You might as well just send it out now, but waiting on the steps, and that small timing window has now been missed. So yeah, Fuga has to farm under tower, not exactly what he's looking for. And yeah, Moose doubles up the wave, which will push it all the way out to Dire's Tier 1 tower. Sentry Ward here in position. Murdoch is now aware of Moose, but is still going to take quite a few little hits. Light Strike Array is available at this point in time for the Lina. Yeah, interesting to see this Lina progression. I mean, I assume Eul Scepter will be a first item, but after that, like, there's so many different ways you can go with this hero nowadays, especially with the right-click damage talents. Very interesting indeed. Hiko right up in there under the tower, just bops him one here. He does have some good Astral Spirit buff. That's the key to this hero in the early game, is really making the most of that. But now it looks like he's going to be the first blood. Doesn't even need, like, we have Moose all ready to flank. He's actually just going to go on the Beastmaster here. With the Orb of Venom right clicks, they almost have a kill. He's very close to going down. He would have to Shadow Walk right click under the tower. That's just a little bit too dangerous. With the healing salve in the Beastmaster's inventory, you at best get the healing salve forced out, and then you probably drop down to critical HP yourself under tower. But yeah, Hiko already kind of exposing himself a little bit. You have a lot of things you can do with the Spirit. You can move it over to the neutral camps. You can move it over to the creep wave. Obviously, you want to hit heroes with it. And the way when you time that appropriately, you can get some massive early game movement speed and damage. But right now, I get so overzealous under tower with that. Like, you can go pretty far, but under the tower is still off limits early on. Greedy with the Sandstorm Caustic build. Able to get some good poke damage onto the Lifestealer, but he's still the one chewing through most of the regen. Moo is trying to get the final hit onto Hiko as they force him back. The Chilling Touch is doing some work already, but unable to get that final hit. And the Courier has made its delivery at this point in time. Murdoch has sent out his Healing Salve, has his Magic Wand, and Null Talisman. He's feeling pretty confident. We do have even an Invisor here on the Rubik. Can they get a kill off of the Spirit Siphon level 1? They get the lift, pull back. A lot of damage will go against this Lina, but I think he'll still survive getting back under tower. We'll see. Time's waiting. Here we go. He's as far forward as he's going to be. Now they go for the big Spirit Siphon. RZS comes out of Invis. Big damage going on both the heroes, but with the double stun of the Telekinesis, it looks like Chris Brown will fall first. Now Moose, right-click down. Got hit by the Swarm, the Crypt Swarm coming through, and that is going to be a 2-for-0 with that invisible Rubik. Very nicely done. Pretty much the perfect timing for that Bounty Hunter to roam in. Gave Lina the confidence that got her out in the first place. Alright. Not going for second point in Caustic Finale. He goes 0-1-1, and then he starts going for double Burrow Strike. Nice little Echo Stomp coming in from Hiko, but it's a little bit too late as the Beastmaster is already down. Under Sentry Ward, so we are going to see Moose dropping very low here. They don't have any more detection, though, so he makes his way to the south, and he will survive. Beastmaster axes. Could go for a blind guess here, and not going to happen. Yeah, Sentry action. The Dire Sentry pretty much worthless at this point. Not really going to get much value out of that at all. And little exchange here as Greedy picks up 2 bounty runes down bottom. So now, at this point in time, Lina is topping out CS over the Death Prophet, 23-4 over 16-2. But Murdoch, of course, has that kill and assist that still gives him the pretty much even net worth. And Ancient Apparition, on the other hand, is going to get dove by the Elder Titan and just get run down. Windlace plus the Astral Spirit, he can stay right on top of him. And it leaves the Ancient Apparition very vulnerable. No Sentry Ward here in the mid lane. He's got an Infused Ruin Job, so he's going to be able to tank through some of this, but it's still going to be, I think, too much damage coming in here. So they do get him with the stun, with the slows, and kill him off. Ice Vortex and Chilling Touch working together very well there. And K1 doesn't get the jump? Whoa, that should not have happened. That is a kill that should have been avoided. He was trying to essentially avoid one more auto attack of damage, underestimated the right clicks from these heroes. There's a lot of base damage coming through. Like 75 base damage for the Beastmaster, and with the Astro Spirit buff, a lot of potential damage for the Elder Titan. As you see him just walking right through the easy camp. I think right now he's going to be hitting for 160, 69. Just a huge right click, huge little staple gun pounding away at Masoku, and he will get himself another kill. Very easy to underestimate this hero. Hijack, on the other hand, is going to be caught out here and killed off. K1 gets a little bit of vengeance there. Do not think he should have had that last death, though. I think he could have time locked a little bit earlier, and he just would have soaked up 1 or 2 more auto attacks. Underestimated the damage incoming, and that just is unfortunate. Murdoch pops the Exorcism. He saw the Lina TP up top, so he's like, okay, make the most of that time, put some good damage into this tier 1 mid. And even healing salving against the tower to try to get as much face time with this tower as possible. He's backing off, but you know this Exorcism is going to heal him to full anyways. I'm sure he could put a little bit more in. Staying cautious though, and just moving over to the jungle. Down bottom, it's going to be the Lifestealer topping out 33 and 8 over the Sankey's 25 and 2. He does go back for the Caustic again, but as it stands right now, he's just kind of going back and forth with the Lifestealer on the lane. And in this kind of exclusive 1v1, the Lifestealer has just had just enough regen that he has been able to ignore a lot of the Caustic and force the Sanking off the wave. Murdoch now in a bit of a rough spot. The Ice Vortex slows him down a little bit, but not enough to get a reliable stun on him. Now he's looking to turn it with the Spear Siphon onto 2, but Soku and Moose draining their life essence. But RZS is separated from his teammates, and you can't get this stun. Oh, this is not going to be good for the Elder Titan. He tries to go for the stomp. He finally gets it. No, he dies right before it finishes. And they end up trading 2 for 1. Ancients evolve, but no neutral denies. It's going to be the Death Prophet and the Elder Titan killed off in exchange for the Bounty Hunter. I did really aggressive movement from Hiko there. Not sure if that was wise. If he had maybe like a raindrop or something that he could soak up a little bit more damage, maybe you can make that happen, but all Chris Brown has to do is hold on to the Light Strike Array for a little bit longer there and make sure that the stomp doesn't come out. He did it a little early, so there was almost a stomp, but in the end they get good damage on 2, and they didn't even have, they just Laguna Blade to guarantee the kill. This is a nice little Arcane Rune. It should be up just when Exorcism comes out, so if he wants to reduce the cooldown of that ultimate and just get some more aggressive push coming out, it's definitely possible. K1 doesn't have to worry about silence or anything here, but also can't do much of anything to defend his tower. Murdoch pops the Arcane Rune to Exorcism right into the Chronosphere. Epicenter coming in from Greedy. Burrow Strike right onto the Death Prophet, and she's going to be going down. She tries to Spear Siphon. There is going to be the sleep, but in the end, she takes too much damage, and the reinforcements are here from G-Pride. Oh, very nice setup there with the bubble, and Hijack is going to be going down as well. Just a little bit delayed in this kill. Finally, we'll take a spill. So Void does commit fully right into the Exorcism and does get killed off, I think, by the Echo Stomp in the end. But worthwhile. Trading a low cooldown Exorcism for the Chronosphere and getting a kill advantage out of it. Early Chronospheres aren't generally going to create that many opportunities, but you don't have Ice Blast yet. You're just doing what you can with what you have, and I think that was just a really good usage of the ability this early on. Murdoch kind of just doing his thing. He has RZS supporting him behind. He just cancels the clarity and walks away, keeping his zone intact while invis. Pretty funny. I do want to talk about early levels. I think ultimates are really important for the next stage of the game, and the fact is we do have a level 4 Bounty Hunter, 5 on the Ancient Apparition, and the ET. ET's level 6 isn't as important. I don't even get Earth Splitter at 6 usually. Depends on really what you're looking to accomplish. But the mana pool is pretty lacking for just adding in an extra 125 mana spell. But the key spells I'm looking at, Ancient Apparition's Ice Blast and Bounty Hunter's Track. These are the key aspects of the heroes. And actually, RCS, in a bit of a weird spot, he has Spell Steal available. We'll steal Sandstorm, it looks like. Just going to wait for the Burrow Strike. And as soon as the Burrow Strike comes out, he will try to go for the steal, but they don't put enough pressure on him to force it out. And in the meantime, Ancient Apparition does get killed off up top. That's just a Roar. Primal Roar against the support. Like, that's just going to be a freebie. But yeah, the Tome of Knowledge is now available, coming out here for the Bounty Hunter. And does bring him up just to level 6, just barely gets it. And that track is so very important. It's going to be just amping up the net worth value of his team quite significantly. Soul Ring, Tranquils, Sand King. Does mean it delayed his Blink Dagger quite a bit to get those 2 items, but he's just going to be able to reliably move and continuously cast throughout the fights. And he's going to have that Blink Dagger in like 400 gold anyways. Moose does get dusted, but I don't think he's in danger. He just tracks and walks away here. That's fine. Spell Steal on the Shuriken. Well, he doesn't have the mana to use the Shuriken, so I guess it doesn't matter too much. But we do have Ancient Apparition falling again, this time behind tower to the Elder Titan and the Lifestealer. So ET dives on him, sets up Lifestealer for the kill, Nyx walks away. And Hiko juking through the trees. Very nicely done. Good movement from Hiko and Chris Brown. Ankles torn asunder. This Elder Titan just walks on out of here. No problem at all. making moves up top. Ice Blast is available. Could bring Hiko very low, but it doesn't look like it's going to shatter him anymore. So instead, I think they look for the Chronosphere play up top. They need a 2-man Chrono. They could get a 3. Can he get the 3-man Chrono? No, he gets roared up. Is not able to get it off. Ice Blast will come through onto Hijack here, but Murdoch and RZS are fine on the front line. Burrow Strike connects on the Rubik, dropping him pretty low, but he's got the time walk in just a moment. Masoku is the one that gets blasted down with the Fade Bolt. Oh, that could have been amazing. If the Void just had got the Chronosphere off a moment sooner, he would have had a 3-man Chrono, setting up a massive Ice Blast and a full team follow-up. But instead, he gets roared, he gets killed, and that changes the scope of the game very quickly as we see the Tier 1 tower going down up top. Prophet looking for her Yule Scepter as well. Chris Brown finding his in a short time span with a key pick up here is going to be that Blink Tiger. Greedy gets, like I said, he didn't have a perfect laning phase against the Lifestealer. Like, he didn't win it out, but he was able to get enough out of the lane that he's able to boast quite a few items at this point in time. Burrow Strike stolen by Rubik. One of the best spells he has available. Obviously, Track, any of the ultimates are going to be the best spells, other than maybe Epicenter. But Burrow Strike is the best primary ability that he can steal for sure. Sanking Greedy has his dagger on cooldown right now. They see heroes. Chris Brown gets lifted up. It's going to be Greedy coming in. Big Epicenter in just 2 seconds. He needs to use it, but doesn't see enough follow-up from his teammates. Where's the Ice Blast? Masoku not even casting it. No Ice Blast, no Epicenter, no kills. He'll just wait. They don't see him yet. Did they see him? They caught a glimpse of him, I think. Could the Courier scout him out? That would be huge. But right now, Greedy, the level 1 Epicenter, sees the Ice Blast. They get his Blink Dagger on cooldown with the Elder Titan's Astral Spirit. The Ice Blast wasted. And Greedy on the run. There was a narrow time window where they could have gone for that, but the Ice Blast wasn't en route yet. They could have gone on the Tier 1 tower. The Blink Dagger was off cooldown, or it was like on a 2-second cooldown. He could have gone there for the Epicenter, had the Blink Dagger up and gone for it, but they need that Ice Blast pre-casted. They need it right on the tower immediately, and they just didn't. So they lose a Tier 1 tower, they lose a Tier 2 tower, and they lose the Lina for nothing. And this just bodes well for Midas Club. They're already at just a minor net worth advantage, but they can snowball that very quickly as the Lifestealer picks up his next item. This is the first game that I've seen of the last like 4 or 5 Lifestealer games. All of them have gone Radiance. Some of them, those games I have not agreed with, but this one I wouldn't have minded it too much. Ancient Apparition, Ice Blast kill onto the Rubik, but probably goes down to the Stomp here. Ulti just to secure it. And actually Greedy gets picked up by the Elder Titan ultimate. Dusted up as well. They're trying to make something happen, but I don't see it. Burrow Strike instead onto Hiko. They can even track him up, but Hijack is here with that roar. Battle Fury up for the Faceless Void. Hand of Midas Armlet for the Lifestealer. Yeah, I think this, I mean, you look at Lifestealer, he's got 7,100 net worth, and he only just picked up the Midas. So you can't even attribute that to his overall success. I would have to say that this, where a few of the games previously, I wouldn't have enjoyed the Radiance pickup. I think it probably would have worked out here. Because again, there's nothing that really kills off the Ancient Creeps. You get like a Black Dragon, a Thunderhide, something walking around. The Faceless Void will take a really long time to auto-attack that down. So I would have enjoyed that. I think that could have been pretty effective. But at least for right now, he decides to go for the more brawl-intensive build. Moo's going to be picked up. Good silence coming in for the Death Prophet. They roar up the Faceless Void, and he goes down again! Nothing doing from Void as he gets locked out, and RZS grabs the Ice Blast to shatter Chris Brown. Epicenter, Burrow Strike combo, and a Dragon Slave on top. Doing a lot of damage, but it's not going to be enough. They dust up the Sand King, they kill him off, and even look to stomp on the Ancient Apparition. They're going to bring him down as well. They only lose the Rubik. It's an Ultra Kill coming in for Murdoch on the Death Prophet. The perfect silence, a level 1 silence, hitting the 2 most impactful heroes right up front. making sure the Bounty Hunter doesn't get out, and making sure that the Void doesn't get that clutch Chronosphere off. That fight would have been completely different with the Chronosphere. Again, it could have been a full quad team wipe the other way, at least an ultra kill. And instead, Murdoch is large and in charge. Oh, beautiful sounds coming through. Ice Blast. Frozen ammunition from the Ancient Apparition heads towards the opposition. They shrug it off. Poking and prodding at this tower, summoning an army to fight alongside the Exorcism Spirits. And it is going to be just enough to take it down, it looks like. Even a stomp coming through on the exposed Bounty Hunter, but they don't want to dive for it. That would be a bit of a over-aggression. Chronosphere still available, and a moment needed for Masoku. 2,000 net worth in their advantage. Strong position at this point in time for Midas Club. So they just take fight after fight, and this Void just can't get anything off. Gonna go for the Manta style now. That would at least prevent the silence. But he still has to get the Chrono off before the Roar hits him, because after that, there's just nothing he can do about it. He's farming all right. His CS is solid at 112, but that's with a Battle Fury. He's getting out-farmed by the Lifestealer. He's getting out-bobbed by the Death Prophet. The 2 cores, K1, Chris Brown, they need to make something happen. Moose does go ahead and drop an Observer Ward back here. And that is going to be picked up by the Radiant thanks to the Sentry Ward here. So I don't know if they're actually going to kill off the Bounty, but they definitely will get that D Ward back the other way. And just keep progressing. I mean, they've already got the Yule Scepter on the Death Prophet. Looks like she's looking for a Solar Crest and then a BKB. Beastmaster already has the Pipe and Dominator. It's kind of bread and butter. And now he's just kind of looking for initiation tools. Right now, he's like, okay, we can mitigate a ton of this magical damage incoming from the enemy supports from the Sand King. And now, of course, he's got his pushing army so that they could just break tower after tower. I mean, we're only 18 minutes of the game, and the only outer tower remaining is this top tier 2 for the Dire. So they just have lost so much so quickly on so many different fronts. And, you know, they're keeping up with track gold, but it's a Bounty Hunter team that's behind on net worth at 18 minutes. And it's just, you're not getting the value out of this hero when you're losing this many key fights. 18 and 11. Alrighty. Little lag, little reconnect. Get him back in the game. Yeah, Elder Titan looking for a Rod of Atos of his own. Just a guaranteed setup on the Echo Stomp is really nice. Desolator tempted for the Lifestealer here. His Midas still doing its thing. Lina, we want to go back to her build, talk a little bit about what she is looking for. Is that a Bloodstone, most likely? Going to be picked up next. So that is her overall game plan. I remember when Bloodstone BOT was like the item to go on the Lina. She would be able to just get back into the fight really quickly. Her Laguna Blade is such a short cooldown already. What, 60 seconds at just level 2? That she's able to, you know, start off the fight. She's able to get right into the thick of it, and then with a quick respawn of her Bloodstone, BOT back into it. And maybe she won't have her Laguna back then, but she definitely could just keep on throwing out these short cooldown Light Strike arrays. So I remember like Weehaw having some really good games on Lina where he would just Bloodstone BOT every game, and he would always be involved, always be pushing out a huge amount of damage. But it just feels like it's a little falling behind. If she gets the Bloodstone relatively soon and then gets a bunch of charges off of it, it's fine. But let's say that they're far enough behind that she grabs the Bloodstone only to die 3 times in a row, loses those charges, loses that respawn time value, and really just has a big pile of HP and mana instead of a really like value item. I'm hoping that it can work out for them, but right now the game seems to be going a different way. Midas Club taking just every major fight. And not fully to the fault of G-Pride for the most part. Like, Greedy's been playing really well in the Sand King. I would have to say that I think Chris Brown has been doing well enough in the Lina, but Faces Void, Chronospheres obviously have just not been there. And then, you know, the Misoku Ice Blasts require so much setup. He's just not he's not able to land them on just without anything to kind of enable them. Back to the real world here as we do see Rubik reconnecting in. We kind of get back down to present time. It looks like this ward might even just be killed off with a creep wave, honestly. It very well might be, as Moose tries to make his great escape. And, or ET can finish it off as well, that's fine. And they're just going to go to Roshan. No problem at all. Just summon everything. Summoning up both the Dark Troll Summoner and a Boar. You can go ahead and drop some Skeletons then after the fact, but yeah, you don't want to keep those slams rolling, so you'll just keep on rotating who's tanking it. And with the Medallion, they'll take this Roshan down in no time at all. Ice Blast in the pit is a bit annoying, but it just slows things down. It doesn't actually prevent them from taking this. The thing they're worried about has got to be the Sand King. They have to get eyes on him right now, out of vision, out of sight, out of mind. They need to see the Sand King, and they need to do something about that. They got eyes on Greedy. They know what they're doing, and they do have this Ancient Black Dragon on the front line. Again, something that they can do very little about. 2,000 HP, 6 armor, and this guy can just kind of wait around throughout the team fight. Nice attempt on a Yule's combo. Instead, Burrow Strike stolen, and again, the lifesteal stays right on top of his opponents. Force Staff and Blink, I don't think that you're going to be able to catch up the Sand King here, but you're wasting a lot of time, and they can just profit Exorcism into the pit. Ice Blast again, wasting time, but not preventing them from going for Roshan. Sand King trying to get back into it fast enough. 4 stats forward, going for the epicenter, but they're already out of the pit. Smoked up Faces Void. Can he find an opening here? He breaks the smoke. They see him, and they just walk away. He is fishing so hard for this Chronosphere. This Chronosphere that's eluded him since like the beginning of the game. Blink Burrow onto Hijack. That's one here to start on. They even almost get roared up. They're going to Burrow Strike onto Faces Void. He's going to go down. He time walks away, gets pulled back into the Earth Splitter, and has the Chrono onto Lifestealer. Now, Chronosphere stolen. Used by RCS onto the Lina. Here comes the flank. Here comes the epicenter. Double Burrow Strike, and the Ice Blast coming through. Shreds the Rubik, looking for the Beastmaster, but they've already roared down the Lina. They just pipe it up, tank through it all, and now Greedy's the one in a really sore spot. Has Burrow Strike, needs to use it. Where's he gonna go? Where's he going? He gets silenced! Oh, monster kill for Murdoch. Yeah, just absolutely obliterating the opposition here. Midas Club making every fight work for them. Not even having to use the Aegis there. Lifestealer just kind of doing his thing on the side. Again, another great epicenter Burrow Strike play, but the Chronospheres, I mean, they're just hitting like one hero that's not that relevant. It gets spell stolen and it shuts down the Lina entirely. It's just not what it needs to be. Sand King is doing really well, but against the Pipe of Insight, he can't do it by himself. That's just not what the hero's designed for. And now he's down for the count. The Chronosphere is still on cooldown, and they know it. Midas Club surging forward for the final outer tower. Gonna see some split push coming out from the Faces Void. K1 will be able to clear out the waves very quickly. It should be able to just grab this tier 2, but in the meantime, their base is in trouble. I think we need to see more Ice Vortexes at this particular moment. Like, oh, Burrow Strike raged out. Now we're gonna see it stolen once more, and Fuga just goes hard. Was just looking for Greedy. There's a Slept Sand King. Fuga now at low half HP, and gonna be relying on this Aegis moving forward. But on base defense situations, you want to get your Ice Vortexes out. There's a lot of, minute choke points, so you can just kind of start papering the ground with those so they can't really maneuver against you. Slow them down, amp up any damage incoming, but it's going to be the Burrow Strike. Quick draw from RZS, gets the Burrow Strike first. Triple Silence coming out, roaring up the Lina. They kill her off, and she's down for 50 seconds. This might actually beat the top lane of Rax. We're going to see the Exorcism pop down. Chronosphere is available. Chronosphere coming out onto 2 heroes, but K1 just gets shredded by the Ghost. He gets slept and he gets killed. Greedy gets the epicenter out, but gets Burrow Struck and finished off as well. It's GG. Midas Club. They just take every single fight. They completely baffle this Faces Void. K1 can't do anything. Midas Club just completely outmaneuvered. And we actually get to see Rubik dropping the burrow onto the Sand King before he gets a chance to do it himself. Oh my goodness, that was just such a clutch set of plays coming out from Midas Club, and that is going to be the first game going to them in style. Like, G-Pride had so many fights, so many opportunities that just slipped away from them. They just couldn't make their spells connect the way they wanted to. I still almost want to give the MVP to Sand King, is the funny thing. Like, if you just look at damage output, without any of these Chronospheres connecting the way that they wanted them to, other than maybe the one in the top lane, the Sand King still did massive damage. Did 8,000 damage, far more than anybody else on his team. Greedy did so well, but, I mean, look at the Elder Titan. 10,000 damage himself. There's just too much. Hiko had a really good laning phase. Maybe he got a little over-aggressive a couple of times, but he did just really well over Masoku. And then the Roars were on point, the Death Prophet. Yeah, okay, I will give the Death Prophet the MVP for sure. Sand King, close second, but Murdoch was rocking it. Those silences were so damn good. All right, boys. Well, that's going to be the first game of this best-of-3 series in the books here for MDL SA Changsha Majors final match of Group B. We'll be jumping into Game 2 of this best-of-3 series to see if Gorillaz-Pride can bring it back, or if they're going to be dropping down to the 3rd seed of this group as we get into the playoffs starting tomorrow. Thanks once again for tuning in. I'm myself, and Blaze at BlazeCasting is where you can follow me if you feel so inclined to do so, but we're going to be going into at least one more game of South American Dota here in just a few minutes. Thanks for tuning in.